Yeah, no, I mean, that's amazing that you were able to find that. And I do want to also then touch on, you know, we're talking about COVID, but also we also were hit with the Black Lives Matters movement and all of this social upheaval. And there's just a lot of people responding, consumers were looking for responses, but companies didn't necessarily always know how to respond, and certain companies. And tell me about you yourself, as far as what your response was, how you dealt with that, and just what you thought in general in terms of everyone else.
Well, I'm pretty ballsy. So I actually called out my partners. I am. I'm pretty much, I accept who I am. I called out my partners that were kind of silent. I called out Walmart on my page. I called out Target. I said, where are you guys? Why are you not speaking? And it got escalated up. My Walmart post got escalated up, and I got an email saying, thank you for doing that. We are doing XYZ. We would love to hear what you think about this. Can you join this meeting? It actually was beneficial. That was kind of a risky situation. People could have been upset and maybe dropped the brand. But at that moment, I was taking a stand against something that I felt was more than business. It was more of looking at the livelihood of my children. I have a 6-year-old son. So thinking of potentially losing a partner that I value, but looking at my son who I cannot live without, I had to make a stand and say, guys, where do you stand on this? Because you have power to make a change and make an impact. What are you doing? And why are you so quiet? So we did that first, and I called out a lot of our partners, got responses, and then we went into action. So we did a lot of things, like we are still donating 50% of sales from Target and those partners I called out, Walmart, CVS. 50% of sales, when they submit a receipt, 50% goes to the NAACP. We also have voter registration events, where we've been doing those for the last few weeks, where girls in our cities that aren't working events like they used to are now registering people to vote. We are doing also a lot of activities in our communities. We are signed up. All the ladies who were working events are now doing other activist events, like they're marching, and we're registering them to vote. We're being more active on the ground floor, and also making sure that we are educating on the social front. So we've taken a stance on our page. We've called out what our position is. We've gotten some flack for it. Some people are like, and I actually, it's so crazy. We have a video up. It's a Parent Magazine feature of me, and it's a video. It's like a 5-minute video that they featured of me and my journey, and the picture is me and my family. The what do you call it? The cover image is of me and my family. My husband is not Black. And so a lot of hateful comments are coming in from this amazing post about coming from the ghetto and the projects to making it. And it's so uplifting, but all the hate that's filtering in, all lives matters, and I've been called so many ugly names and words from such a positive post. So it shows me that there's still so much work to be done, because such a positive post shouldn't have garnered so much hate, And I think we're in a place where I can't be silent. I have to take a stand. I have a son that I constantly think about, who is totally clueless when it comes to those things. He has no idea what that world looks like. He has no idea what the real world, being a Black male, if you're in the wrong area, looks like. I don't think he'll experience that here, but he could, and so we have to keep him aware of that. So everything I'm doing is really secondary business, third, fourth, fifth. Really, first and primarily is my family.
Staying true to yourself.
Yeah.
Well, and I do have one more question, but I do want to remind everyone that if you have a question for Mahisha, remember, just raise your hand. Steve will unmute you or give you an unmute request, and you can ask it. But I do want to ask, obviously you've been dealing with so many things and responding to so many things, and you've had some positive things happening with your business, but how are you planning moving forward? Because this is one of the things that even I mentioned in the survey. This is something that everyone is really feeling challenged about. How are you able to plan your marketing when you don't really know where we're going?
Yeah, that part is interesting, because it's super, super important. And this is where the smaller businesses, small to mid-sized businesses will flourish, I think, a little more in the uncertainty, because you have to be agile. Mm-hmm. So you have a plan, But when you see things shift, like we're able to shift in gear quickly when COVID happened. It was chaotic for like a month because we're so crazy busy and trying to shift things, but we were able to do it because we're agile. We have a great team of people who are flexible, and we jumped into gear. Like we said, okay, we can't do these events anymore. We have to shift. And Stephanie, who manages all the events, came with 10,000 great ideas. I'm like, she has so many ideas every single Friday when we have our staff call. Every person in their respective roles were actively finding ways to shift. And it's just our culture. And I think that's a part of being who we are. So we have a plan, but things may shift. And then when and if they do, we will shift gears again. And figure it out. But that's the part, I think, sometimes like I work a lot with Target and Walmart and all those other stores, and it takes so much time to implement change because they're so big, right? These big behemoths, they're huge. That can be a detriment.
Yeah, even some of the bigger companies I've talked with have said they need to maybe start thinking along the lines of what you're saying and not be so, this is what everything is going to be in 6 months or a year from now. But well, I don't want to I want to give people the opportunity to ask you questions. So Steve, do we have any questions for Mahisha?
Yes, we do, a few. I know that Derek has a question, so let me ask him to pop in and start us off. Unmute.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Derek, unmute.
Once again, I hit one button and I'm happy. Mahisha, very impressive stuff. I wanted to ask you quickly about acquiring new customers during this period. It sounds like you had a really effective engagement strategy, and a lot of education and resources for your customers. Did you implement any tools to try and acquire new customers during this time?
So for acquiring new customers, which is very important because you have to keep growing your database, right? That was all a part of our partnership with strategic influencers in areas and other influencers that talk to an audience that we weren't so heavy in. So for example, we started to talk to more Caucasian influencers to get to their audience base. We started to also do more digital ads for our events and go outside of our database. So we had a lot of digital ads specifically for all of our education because we became more of and we created classes for all the textures. So the wavy, curly, and kinky. So we broadened our horizons. We used digital. We actually added more influencers outside of the, women of color list. And we utilize people and services, not so much other tools, but really our low-hanging fruit. And because we didn't really have the time to dig into new tools, our low-hanging fruit is our ability to reach lots of different influencers because we get approached every day, several times a day to partner with us. And also digital ads were so amazing for us because the costs were lower. So we went crazy with our digital ads and garnered new customers. So that was the approach we took. We had to do it quickly. And we had that low hanging fruit and it was effective.
Thanks.
I hope that answered your question.
Absolutely.
Another question comes in over the transom about communicating with your partners. For instance, this idea of getting your partners on board, especially when it comes to social justice issues. What did you find, in retrospect, what's the best way to communicate with big partners? Is it best to call them out publicly? Are there internal channels that are best to work with there? In retrospect, what do you think, since a lot of this is a bottom-up movement, a lot of it is coming from within companies, insisting that the companies live up to their values, and also from partners like you, what did you find is really the best way to communicate?
Well, I do not suggest that people take the approach I took, okay? Again, I'm a little more like, ooh, in your face a bit, and I take a stand for what I believe in. I do think, though, that the best approach for any other person would be to go to the supplier diversity department and to speak to them. It's like every one of our partners have a department like that, right? So go to that department, speak to the head, and ask them to share what they're doing, and then see how you can get involved. But I think going through the channels is the safest way to go about it. I took more of a approach of I'm going to call you out to the table. I mean, on the carpet to make you reply. So that was ballsy, again, effective, but I don't suggest anyone else would do that.
We have another question about the ways in which you built your brand. I'll read it straight out. As you built the Curls brand from its infancy and then through COVID, what technology did you think was most important to leverage in order to connect or build a relationship with your customers and generate awareness? TV, email, social ads, Google ads? Was there a particular channel or two that really stood out?
Yeah, starting out, TV wasn't really effective because, you know, we were starting small, right? Of course. And so we wanted to really target and spend our money wisely. So digital has always been a very important piece of our marketing strategy. Very, very important. Influencers have been extremely, extremely beneficial. When you partner with the right influencers, you can see an immediate impact and shift in sales. Like the right ones, you'll see instantly. So that's always been important. Now that we're larger, we're partnering with the BETs of the world, right? Essences of the world and Black Enterprises of the world. We are partnering with them now. But starting out, it was really digital, or well, midway, because things shifted as we've evolved. And it's still important to, when you're talking to a niche market, to go where they are. So I think finding how to reach them is important, and knowing where they are is important. For example, we do things like, which is not typical. We never see our competition here. We like to go to trade shows, of course, and expos, but every other competitor will be there. So we find ways to go where our community will be, but our competitors won't be, to get that extra opportunity to be in their face. So we'll partner with, for example, the American Airlines Center when Jay-Z and Beyonce are here for a concert, and sample inside and out and gift inside and out of the concert. We know we're going to have our consumer there. No one else will be there. We'll have to share the voice of that space with our competition, and we'll get in front of them with premium products that they want. So we always try to find ways to do that. Go where our consumer is, but our competition isn't.
Let me ask one follow-up on social influencers, since they were so important at one stage in the company. How do you manage them? Do you do it all internally? Do you work with a broker? And how do you identify just the right ones?
Yeah, so we have someone, actually my oldest daughter manages that here. She works for me. She's been fired 3 times, but
we all
she's
know
back.
more than we do.
Yes, right. She's that right age, or she knows who's hot. Like she'll tell me, I'm like, I don't know who that is. Well, you should know. And if you don't, go check her out, and we need her for the brand. Okay, I trust you. So she manages that part. We also have brokers too. We have 2 brokers and my daughter who manages that whole entire influencer relationship process.
I think that's a wrap, Lisa.
Yeah, no, that was great. It was really great interview. I love talking to you and hearing your story. And there's so much more to you, but unfortunately, we don't have enough time to get into that.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so sorry that my camera started to just flip on us. I don't know what the problem is, but thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here, and stay safe. And hopefully soon, maybe we'll be seeing you at a live event, and we can actually see each other in person. We don't have to worry about blurry cameras or anything.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, guys.